Drift and Shang-Chi are both recognized as some of the best martial artists in their respective verse, obviously with a few competitors, but again, they usually are talked about as some of the highest ones, with Shang-Chi being a lot more common than the likes of Drift. But today, we're going to see which martial artist actually takes it in an equal stats debate. Let's talk about it. Now, to start off, the rules of equal stats. This means that no matter what tier, Shang-Chi and Drift are going to be equal in strength, speed, and durability. We're going to focus on skills, weapons, and ability state. So with that being said here, let's begin. With the likes of Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi himself is Marvel's greatest martial artist. You ain't got to believe me. I mean, hey, it's stated multiple times. Multiple writers, multiple characters consider Shang-Chi the pinnacle of martial arts. And to be kind of honest, he's earned it. Dude's been trained since birth. Bro came out the womb getting trained by his daddy in the pretty much in whole ancient or legacy or longevity form of martial arts. Okay, this dude is so skilled, right? That him being mind controlled was still able to beat Iron Fist. I ain't even joking. This man's skill is on such another level that in a equal stats fight with semi King Thor, pre Odin Force and Zeus Force King Thor, all right? He was not only able to stalemate him, but actually outskill him. Keep in mind, Thor has centuries long, combat abilities, centuries long experience, and again, is a very skilled fighter of his own, and is the main one to train a large majority of the martial artists in Marvel, even teaching characters that had no form of martial arts, like Spider-Man, actually how to fight, which is how he got the way of the spider. Shang-Chi himself also possesses the 10 rings as his main weapon. Now, this is a very powerful weapon, mind you. These 10 rings and stuff are powerful enough to actually allow Shang-Chi to beat characters like Terax. I understand Terax is a jobber, but keep in mind, like I said with Ares in my Grimlock versus Ares video, he is a powerful jobber, okay? Still able to cut planets in half, still able to fight against characters like a Celestial Amped She-Hulk and stuff like that. Again, a very powerful being still. And keep in mind, Shang-Chi himself, with these 10 rings, is able to do a plethora of things. He can restrain his opponents and follow up with his chi-based attacks. Yes, he has chi manipulation as well, so he can throw chi punches and chi kicks. Again, this is some of these commonly done over the years. And keep in mind as well, Shang-Chi himself, with these 10 rings, can restrain his opponents. He can also perform exorcist. Yes, I'm not even kidding. He can do that. And can even control their size, being able to literally control them to the size of, well, kind of like a giant wheel, if you will, if you guys get what I mean. Able to make them giant, to restrain his opponents, okay? He can do whatever he wants with it, open portals and everything. And to be kind of honest, yeah, he's kind of earned it. He's earned this kind of power up, and it's nice to know that he's still keeping this power up as well. So yeah, Shang-Chi, #1 martial artist, is actually skilled enough even without the 10 rings to be able to harm entities like Thor and Terax, even the Thing, mind you, even being able to use pressure points on characters like the Thing. Actually was able to outskill Iron Man, someone whose armor can even read someone like Captain America's movements. And keep in mind, in equal stats fights, he's also outskilled beings like Hyperion and even Captain America, and also being able to read people's moves in order to counter them. So yeah, that's gonna do it for Shang-Chi here. Absolutely busted character. But now let's move on to his opponent, Drift. Himself is a part of the Order, one of the best swordsmen and one of the best combat space or combat based transformers. In all honesty, I would probably say somewhat all of fiction, rivaled only by Bludgeon himself. Now, Drift is a master of Metallico, which is one of the deadlier forms of Cybertronian martial artists, along with diffusion and gladiatorial pit fighting. Now, keep in mind, Drift himself knows this form very well and is even a master of it. Cybertronians themselves have been able to master their fighting forms for millions of years, before even humanity itself was even a thing. And keep in mind, Cybertrons can also incorporate earthbound martial arts into their own systems. And again, they can learn them quite casually and incorporate them into their own fighting forms. So just kind of a heads up. Drift possesses the Great Sword. The Great Sword is a weapon that is, well, I would actually say incredibly powerful. It's kind of like the Mjolnir of, not the Mjolnir, the Ebony Blade of Transformers. Like, anyone can wield it, but it doesn't really have any sort of drawbacks, right? The Ebony Blade, oh sorry, not the Ebony Blade, the Great Sword itself has even been able to cut through transmetals. Yes, transmetals, living organic metals capable of withstanding planetary explosions here. And keep in mind, Drift was also able to fight against the likes of Magmatron, a Cybertronian or a Beast Cybertronian who was made out of, I believe, Transmetal 2 alloy as well, which is basically the evolved metal. Now keep in mind, Drift as a Cybertronian does come with some qualities here. For starters, he's able to copy and even mirror other moves. Cybertrons are also able to gain information analysis based on their own vision alone, and can even come up with counter strategies to be able to disarm, outmaneuver, and even counter opponents. So essentially, they're basically walking cheat codes. Like, I would love a Cybertronian, mindset, a Cybertronian brain and stuff like that, being able to cheat on my tests and stuff. I would really love that kind of stuff. I'm just saying. But again, Drift himself being a master at Metallico, being able to perform these martial arts feats, him being able to slice Cybertronians in a heartbeat, dissecting Cybertronians in a heartbeat with even his miniature blade. But again, we are going to just give him the Great Sword here, as it does feel right. Keep in mind, Drift also does have jetpacks and stuff like that, so he can fly, as well as still transforming into a whole car and being able to even fight against characters like Turmoil, someone who originally was his former boss and was actually capable of beating him before he even learned these martial arts techniques from the Order. So Drift with the Great Sword is actually a very skilled martial artist, and again, the blade seems to also have some sort of energy glow as well, and some sort of lightning emission, being able to, well, enhance his own striking capabilities with the blade. But now, with that being said here, now we can actually begin the battle. Here we are, Drift versus Shang-Chi, in a equal stats match, meaning no matter what tier they are, they're going to be the same. Same strength, same speed, same durability. We're focused on weapons and fighting skills today. One of the best ways I could actually say it, to be honest, because it actually is a breath of fresh air to actually focus on these kind of things with certain characters. Because again, if I didn't do this, I would just say that, well, for all that martial arts, it's not really going to help Shang-Chi if Drift can just simply speed blitz and just one-shot him, right? Because again, Drift isn't a higher tier than Shang. It is what it is. He's a Cybertronian with extra augmentations compared to a human with extra augmentations. Again, Shang-Chi does got some universal scaling. I ain't saying he ain't got that though. But I'm just saying, with equal stats, it just makes it a lot more fair for him, because again, he still has those limitations for his scaling. Still has that context for his scaling, while Drift is simply linear from start to finish. But with that being said here, let's talk about it. Who takes the win, right? Who's coming out on top in terms of a hand-to-hand fight? Doesn't even matter if Drift is, bigger still, because again, we all understand that, size and weight don't really mean anything when it comes to fictional battles, all right? So, that being said here, yeah, how does this factor into who wins here? Well, believe it or not, in terms of their base skill, I would probably say Drift takes a slight edge here. I really do. You see, with Cybertronians being around for so many years longer than humanity, meaning that he would actually exceed, or Drift would actually exceed Shang-Chi's father in terms of skill. Like, Shang-Chi's father would be considered like baby food compared to Drift. Like, I'm just saying, it is what it is. But again, Drift, being a Cybertronian, has existed for years, since before the likes of humanity was even a thought to begin with. And again, Shang-Chi is no slouch. Believe it or not, this is why I say they are slightly different in terms of skill. Drift is slightly higher because, again, in terms of equal stats, oh, Shang-Chi has it. I mean, Shang-Chi is still in a very good spot to even take it with his skill. I mean, this dude was going to beat Thor in an equal stats fight when he possessed the, God of Thunder and Blades power because of the Cosmic Cube and stuff like that. So I find it very interesting and very hilarious, the fact that, even with this kind of stats, or even with this kind of significant skill edge, I should say, Shang-Chi's not far behind. Now, let's talk about weapons. The Great Sword versus the 10 Rings. I would definitely give it to the 10 Rings. The reason why is because the 10 Rings are just a lot more versatile. I mean, Shang-Chi could use it to restrain Drift. He could use it to, defend himself in different ways. He can even make him big enough to where they can actually be able to harm Drift, if you will. However, again, I don't think Drift is going to be able to get caught so many times by the 10 Rings and then being followed up with a chi-based punch. The reason why I'm saying that is because, again, Drift can fly, and the Great Sword can easily match the 10 Rings. I would definitely say that. While it doesn't have the same versatility or the same usage as the 10 Rings, it still has the energy capabilities, and it still has the ability to, well, summon energy in order to cut through just about anything. So again, it looks like they're about equal, right? However, one significant problem. Remember in Drift section when I said Cybertronians are able to copy and apply skills to themselves? Remember when I said Cybertronians can actually analyze their opponents and know multiple ways to disarm them or beat them? That's what's going to be the deciding factor here. You see, because Drift is able to analyze Shang-Chi's fighting style, add it to his own, and then apply it and likely combine it with his Metallico, which again, I don't think Shang-Chi would be able to read because it's not a very good earthbound, it's not an earthbound martial arts. It's a Cybertronian martial arts that has been mastered for over thousands of years. Something that Shang-Chi, honestly, I don't think he would be able to really copy or read it. I think the best way for Shang to really go about it is to try and counter with his own martial arts. However, Drift can read his martial arts and then utterly counter it. Well, the 10 Rings definitely make it tricky, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, if I can instantly learn how my opponent uses his martial arts, and then compare it to my own in an instant, and then find out ways I can easily counter it with my own martial arts, I think that's actually going to be a significant edge here. So, because of that edge, this does mean that Shang-Chi will have to likely rely on the 10 Rings more than his own skill. Nerve Strikes likely won't work here because, again, of just biology of being a Cybertronian. But again, it's very possible he could definitely find a way for his Nerve Strikes to make it work if Shang-Chi just kind of tries to target more things like the arms, the limbs, and stuff like that. But again, I kind of don't see it working because, again, Shang-Chi is still a Cybertron at the end of the day. But again, it's very possible that Drift is still a Cybertronian. But again, Shang could definitely find a way for it to work. But overall, I think if I had to give it to somebody, I think it's kind of clear Drift is going to win here. Because again, he can analyze and counter Shang-Chi's martial arts before the fact that the 10 Rings could likely overwhelm him. I'm not saying Shang-Chi can't win this here. I definitely think he can. But if I had to really give it, I would definitely give it a solid 6.5 out of 10, with Drift definitely coming out on top more often than not. Definitely could be a 50-50. I could easily give it a 5.5 out of 10 because, again, both of them could come out on top. But at the end of the day here, I just kind of see that Drift being able to analyze Shang-Chi's movements a lot better is just going to be way too much of a factor for Shang to actually overcome. Even with the 10 Rings versatility, I kind of think the Great Sword can definitely fend off most of the attacks, and Drift will likely use his jetpacks to get out of a lot of the situation. So at the end of the day, definitely gonna have to give it to Drift here with high difficulty in an equal stats debate. But that's gonna be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends, and I'll see you guys for another Transformers video.